a few months later, I had a major heart attack. Now we're looking at what could be my death. My name is Greg. Since an almost fatal heart attack in 2018, I have learned everything I can about health and fitness. Since then, I have been on a journey to live a healthier, happier, and more productive life. I have no idea where this journey will take me, but I know that I am in the best shape of my life, and I want to share what I've learned with others. Come join me. We're better together. Hello, YouTube friends and fellow athletes. I hope you're doing well today. I hope you're blessed and highly favored. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. But first, I'd love to hear something about you. Drop a comment in the comments below. Say hi. Tell me a little bit about yourself, about your journey in this life. So I've been running since high school. I ran a little bit in high school. I never made it to the varsity team. And I was in the military for 12 years and ran consistently there. I was better than the average in military, but I never really got to where I wanted to be. I almost maxed a couple PT tests, but I never really felt like I was gifted or talented. I've run on and off, I guess, most of my adult life, and I even met my wife while running with the church group. We ended up getting married, and a couple years later I tried to start running again, but it didn't work out for me. I felt like I could always start running again, but I never felt like it was hard to start running again. And as I was running, I would get winded, and I didn't know what that was. And then fast forward maybe a few months, we bought a house that year that I started trying to run again. And I was under the house doing some work on some plumbing, and I was tired. And I didn't put two and two together on these two things. A few months later, I had a major heart attack. I spent almost 17 hours on life support. It was the scariest thing for my wife and I in, at the time, what was a new marriage. We'd only been married 2 years. Now we're looking at what could be my death. And she didn't know. 17 hours later, they woke me up. I got into cardiac rehab and I started running again. It reminded me that I liked running and that I always had a dream to run local races. And I really wanted to run the Oklahoma City Marathon, which was really important to me because the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon was commemorating how Oklahoma stood together after a terrorist attack. The Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon was one of the things that I always wanted to run, and I always wanted to do, but I always thought marathons were too far for me and, beyond the scope of what I was capable of. I knew from the military, we did fun runs, we did 5Ks. This was a 26-mile marathon. Now, I still haven't run that marathon. COVID kind of got in the way of that. I was going to run it this year in 2020. I ran a marathon this February, and I came in less than 4 hours, which is really good. It's nothing to scoff at. And I did it all with easy running, and I'll explain that more later. I set out to learn everything I could about health and fitness. I've tried everything, I've read everything. I tried the ketogenic approach. With this running though, ketogenic didn't seem to really help with performance and help me do the best job that I could in running. I learned that I needed a few carbs, and so I looked a little more into health, and I found out that vegetarian was better. And so emphasis on vegetables and a abstainment from any sugar or refined carbs is paramount to good health, especially for someone who's had a heart attack. And so on a vegetarian approach and a low carbohydrate, or at least moderate carbohydrate intake, I found that I can lower my triglycerides and I can lower my LDLs. My HDLs, I take fish oil. I believe that helps. In any case, I'm in the best health that I've ever been in. The approaches that I've used to mold my running is the Maffetone method. You can look that up. You can look up, and this is nothing new. It's all about running slower to run fast. You run at a low intensity for most of your runs. No elite athlete or professional athlete runs at a high level all the time. You see so many hobby runners and weekend warriors that go out and run, but they run too hard all the time. And this approach doesn't work because it just stresses their body out, makes them prone to injury. And if you run slower, you'll actually improve your aerobic capacity. Your aerobic capacity is what's going to help you run faster on race day. So it also plays into good health for someone who's had a heart attack, not to push their heart too hard. So let me explain how to meter your intensity level. We do that with a heart rate monitor. We run by heart rate. I can tell you to run at a conversation pace, but I've seen some runners who can run at 160 beats per minute and still have a conversation pace. That's almost a race pace, at least a half marathon or a full marathon intensity level. So the approach that I use, I mentioned Maffetone. I use his heart rate formula, 180 minus your age. And then there are other things that you would minus for. If you're on medication, you minus 5. If you are overweight or are overcoming an injury, you minus 10. If you're in good health and you've been running at a low intensity and not at a high intensity, not too high for you in any case, then you can add 5. But I encourage anyone starting out in a low heart rate approach not to do that. And I would say if you start running, or if you've been running, run some slow miles. Build slowly. Don't go after it all out. You want to be running the right amount of volume at the right intensity level to give you a boost in energy throughout the day. This will not only increase your love and passion for running, maybe not at first, but when your health improves, you do it enough and you will have love and passion for your running. Now, it will also overflow into the rest of your life, into the rest of the day, if it's the right amount of intensity and the right amount of volume. When you hear of an athlete that is in the zone, when you've had a good day at work and the day just flew by, you were in the zone, that was a state of flow. You had a little bit of challenge, but it wasn't too much challenge. You felt like you had all the skills necessary to attack that challenge. And it wasn't too low of a challenge, which would just leave you bored. It was the perfect amount of challenge for you for that given moment. And that is in the zone. That's the state of flow. The man that came up with this is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. But the flow state basically states that at too high of an intensity, you're reaching close to burnout. At too low of intensity, you're bored. You want to be at that point where you have high energy levels and where it propels you throughout the day. If you're running with the right amount of volume, you should feel like you're ready to run some more after your runs. At the end of the day, you should feel good. Throughout the day at work, you should feel good. At home with your family, you should sleep well. If you're not sleeping well, or if you feel burned out and tired, you're running too hard. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to accomplish is we're trying to feel better about our life, better about our health, better about our fitness. And if you run at a low intensity and the right amount of volume, you can achieve that. Running slower to run faster is not a new concept. It's not a secret. Many out there have been doing it for a while. The benefits that you'll get for running slower is you'll improve your heart health, your circulation. And that was my biggest reason for running again in the first place, is to become healthy, so I didn't leave my wife and my family alone, so that I could continue to be there for my family for many years and into old age. And then with running too, I'd love to run until old age. I've seen many people that run all over the world, and they're running in their 50s and 60s, and they're still enjoying it. And when you run this, and when you slow down, you actually enjoy your runs more. See, people tell me all the time, I don't know how you enjoy running. Well, it's simple. When they ran too hard. And who wants to run if it hurts? Who wants to run if it takes too much effort? Nobody wants to run if that's the only memory they have of it. So the other benefits you'll have from running slower is you'll improve your aerobic fitness. You'll improve your metabolic pathways. That means you'll burn fat more readily and easily. And who doesn't want to have a good physique? Who wants to be overweight, middle-aged and overweight? No, thank you. And you'll improve your immune system. When you run hard all the time, you tax your immune system. That doesn't improve your immune system. If anything, it leaves you vulnerable to become sick. So the Maffetone or the low heart rate approach is really beneficial, especially in today's climate with COVID-19 and the flu and any other illness that's going around. Let's run slower so that we can run longer in life. Bring back the joy to our life and the joy to our running. And let's improve our immune system and our health. I hope you've enjoyed my first episode. There have been times where I didn't feel like I said exactly what I want to say. There's so much that I want to say and so much that I think I can say that can help you become a healthier, happier person and have a more productive life. Now next week, next Friday, I will post episode 2, part 1 and part 2 of episode 2. It will be the warm-up and the cool-down, and especially the dynamic warm-up that you should do before every run. If you are currently running and you're not doing a warm-up or a dynamic warm-up, and you're not doing any stretching, stay tuned for next Friday. This will be very important for you to not only run injury-free, but to get up in the mornings and feel good and not achy and not hurting or stiff. That dynamic warm-up and cool down and a little bit of stretching. Let's not call it stretching. Let's call it mobility. A little bit of mobility after your runs is so important and is lacking in so many runners. So stay tuned for next Friday's episode. Episode 2 will be in 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Thank you.